not a great start for Zach Wheeler there. What does that do to him at the top there? Is this like Chris Sale is clearly going to be 1A now or
Yeah, I
just
think.
one?
Well, yes. I mean, the market has him as just one. Several places he's a minus favorite to win the award now, like a small -1 price. And then the other really interesting thing that happened yesterday, because when when someone's bad, that win probability, you have a hundred. Say you have a pie chart with 100%. You're gonna shorten Wheeler's percent. You got to put that somewhere. And now, obviously, in an award market, it's actually way more than 100%. That's like the hold that they build into it. But you get the idea. Like, you're going to take from Wheeler, you have to give to someone else. And Sale was definitely the recipient of some more win probability in the market, but Skenes was the recipient of a lot, which was really interesting. So Sale and Skenes are now very close to each other from a price standpoint. And then it's sort of Wheeler as this third wheel, so to speak, and then a very, very, very large gap, and then everyone else. And it's not that everyone else can't win. A lot of people like Dylan Cease. Hunter Green has a pretty interesting candidacy. Like, there's a couple other guys there that are somewhat compelling, but I think we know who the most likely winners are, and the market's pricing them that way. This is it's gonna probably end up being like a Scooble Burns thing, maybe, where like the best time to make a lot of money is going to be late. Is going to be okay. Like, we're all on the same page. We all know who the best candidates are. They're ordered correctly, even, or close to it. What now? And when you get one start to go, two starts to go, if you can figure out what the voters like more than everybody else, or better than everyone else, that might be the key to making money out of this thing, because Sale and Wheeler have been among the lowest price pitchers the whole year. Wheeler's been the favorite the whole year. Skenes, I just think, is always going to be too short for what his actual probability is. He can always win, but he's never going to be as likely as the market thinks he is for it to happen. I think one of the big things there is, and I know you mentioned that they're in the playoff race and everything, but they're still not pitching him very often, and his innings are still going to be way less than everyone else. And in Rookie of the Year, no one cares. In Rookie of the Year, there's this mystique, and his numbers are great, and that's fine, and he doesn't have to pitch a lot of innings. He just has to beat the other rookies in WAR. He doesn't have to beat everybody else. But when he's competing against Zach Wheeler and Chris Sale and Dylan Cease and everybody else, and he's pitching, 80 less innings than everyone else, like, everyone's just going to be like, yeah, I don't care. Who cares? Like, really?
Yeah.
They're going to do that? Really? That it seems like a really nasty tiebreaker loss looming for him, honestly, where the numbers will probably look really close, but the other guys are going to pitch 30% more innings, 40% more innings, maybe. Now, we'll see how each start goes. Maybe if he goes super deep in every single start, he can kind of maneuver it so it doesn't look as bad as it's going to. But man, it's tough. It's tough to win when you didn't pitch a lot, when you didn't pitch to start the year, and you come up and every start's amazing. Again, this just shows you, when guys get called up, and even with Rookie of the Year, just what a knife edge you're on, where everything's got to be perfect and awesome in order for you to have any chance at a lot of these trophies and this hardware. I think he's still really unlikely to win for that reason. And with each start he makes, he becomes a little more likely. But I always feel like the market's going to price him like it's too likely. It's oh yeah, he'll win like 40-50% of the time. No, he won't. He's probably going to win like 20% of the time. And it's going to take this every single time with no hiccups, and Sale being bad, and Wheeler probably being bad again, and Cease doing nothing down the stretch. It's going to take all those things together. It's like a 6-pitcher parlay that has to happen for Skenes to win. So yeah, that parlay is going to hit sometimes, unlike ours last night. That parlay is going to hit sometimes, and Skenes is going to win. But think about all the things that probably have to happen for that to be the case, for a low inning candidacy to come into play. So I think he's still the mispriced one of the three. Aside from that, is there a lot going on here? Probably not. The difference between Sale and Wheeler is probably correct now, like you're talking about. And it's really just like, what do you do with Skenes? Are you loading up on these other two pitchers? I have like nothing going on in this market betting wise. And I just keep thinking at some point, some great opportunity will come up. And I kind of just keep waiting I feel like it'll be obvious when it happens. And I don't know if it's obvious yet. Maybe it's Sale in September when Skenes is still priced like this. Maybe that's the answer. Or Wheeler gets back into it and you bet them as a pair. It's probably going to be betting against Skenes, and it probably won't be yet.
Yeah, I did catch your subtle dig at me, and it did hurt. When you throwing out the parlay last night. Yeah, well, okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Right. So as far as like, because I almost think, I'm pretty sure I did a show with you shortly after Skenes was called up. We had this long conversation of Rookie of the Year and then even Cy Young after a couple of starts. I think it's interesting hearing you talk about that, of what he's going to have to do to actually catch him. That him being Sale, or if somebody else in that grouping, let's say Sale falls off and Cease continues to throw the way he's thrown the past couple starts. It's interesting to hear that, because I think a lot of just regular bettors are like, everybody's talking about him, I got to bet him, and look at his odds, I got to go get, like, I think your like your general fans out there that want to bet a market like this are going to bet Paul Skenes. Is that, I mean, do you feel like that's a public play?
I mean, I do think that he's like a phenom, and people that fit this description tend to be very low priced to do everything. Look at how Victor Wembanyama's priced to win Defensive Player of the Year next year. And it's not that he won't. In that case, he might need less than what Skenes needs to win, in terms of like the barriers that are preventing him from winning something like that. God, I mean, in the NFL, like I would say like Stroud to win MVP. Oh, there's this like whatever the new thing is, right? Like that's Jordan Love, same thing. Whatever the new thing is. Oh, well, like that's nothing. This is what it is. This is the next. We figured it out, everybody. This is the next guy. Sure, it's going to be right rarely, but a lot of times it's just not how it goes, right? The Bears are getting bet to go to the playoffs more than almost any other team. They have a guy playing quarterback who's never played a snap in the NFL before, and a coach who stinks. And it's like, he's the next guy. We got it. Done. Got to put my money on it. And maybe Skenes is one in a line of those things. Maybe that's true. Yeah, it's certainly a reasonable argument. For me, it's just, baseball voters, as old and crotchety, and God, I hate arguing with people. I'd rather argue with almost anybody else than a baseball fan and a baseball voter. They're just impossibly negative people. And at the same time, when push comes to shove, I think I trust them more than everybody else to do something predictable, to do something that's like what they always do. It's actually like almost reassuring that I feel like when we get to the end, it's almost always going to be what we all think it's going to be, because there's like a way to figure this out, and it's pretty easy, right? Like it's not like they're going to be like, well, I'm supposed to write judge, but social justice reform, I'm going to write down Bobby Wood Jr. or something. I mean, it just doesn't happen that way. And, or like voter fatigue or something like that. Like it just doesn't happen that often. So like, they're probably going to vote for Judge and Ohtani and Skubal and one of Sailor Wheeler and, Skenes for Rookie of the Year and whoever has the highest WAR for AL Rookie. There's like a nice comfort in knowing that. And if that's true, then when we get to the end of the year, it's going to be really tough for Skenes' resume to hold up to a really consistent Sale or Wheeler or an emerging Dylan Cease or Hunter Green, who has way more innings and kind of the same numbers. It's just going to be really, really tough to get there for a rookie who voters may look at and say, hey, like in a tiebreaker, in a close setup, like I'm going to go with the innings guy, or I'm going to go with the veteran guy even, which has happened before too.